Heroin made me feel, just the feeling it gave me was, I can't even explain the feeling. It was just the best feeling I ever had. And it was better than when I looked in my son's eyes when he was born.
When my husband Justin and I were using, at first we'd try to hide it from our kids, but it started coming to the point where the kids would just come into the room and we would tell them to leave, but it didn't really matter anymore. So they had witnessed us shooting up. They witnessed us smoking crack.
3 months here, 5 months here, 15 days, 2 weeks. If I had to guess how much time I've spent in jail, it's been like 5-6 years. All petty larcenies and for possession.
At some point in school, teacher asks everybody what they want to be when they grow up. And somebody raises their hand and says they want to be a firefighter, somebody wants to be an astronaut, somebody wants to be a doctor. Nobody raises their hand and says, I want to be addicted to opioids or any drug. But at some point between everything that you wanted to do and all the dreams you had, and this point here, someone ends up an addict. So we have to find out how we're getting from here to here and try and stop that before it takes hold of them. Because once it takes hold of them, for many people, there is no way out, and for some people, the only way out is death.
I thought I was gonna be a doctor, a paramedic, because my brother was a paramedic for a certain amount of years for rural metro, and I always wanted to follow his steps. So it was either gonna be a paramedic or a mechanic, because I love to work in cars too.
I was raised by my dad. My parents got divorced when I was 2. Raised by my dad. He did the best he could, raising me and my older brother. I think I was about 16 when I dropped out of school, got my own apartment, worked 40 hours a week, and I just loved making the money.
Out of 3 things, one, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but as soon as I found out I had to let some animals die, that was a wrap. And then an oceanographer, and then a cosmetologist.
The face of opioid addiction is the face of our country. There's no specific demographic background that it impacts. It impacts everyone. It's in our urban cities, it's in the suburban areas, it's in the rural areas. It knows no ethnic boundaries, no socioeconomic lines that is not impacted by this. It affects everyone, and it impacts everyone in the family.
I think it was 31 or 32. I was having a lot of back problems, kept going to the doctors, getting x-rays done. They found that I had something wrong with one of the discs in my back, and they wanted to do surgery. So they were giving me pain medication. Once the last script came and I couldn't get any more meds, I had a gentleman that I used to wait on, an older man, and he used to come in and give me a cocktail of pills every day. And I was at work one day, and I thought I was getting the flu, had body aching, and I never realized that I was addicted. I really thought I just had the flu or coming down with something. Until the gentleman who was giving me the cocktail pills, he came in and gave them to me, and I took them. About 40 minutes later, I was normal feeling. And that's when it hit me like, wow, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to pain medication. So I was dating this man, and he brought me a bag of heroin home, and I sniffed it and instantly fell in love. I fell in love that day that I sniffed my first bag of heroin, fell in love with it. I had this euphoric feeling. Nothing could touch me. I could work 100 hours. I could wait on 50 tables at once. I fell in love. I loved the feeling it gave me. I felt like Wonder Woman. Nothing could stop me.
I started using drugs hardcore drugs, pills regularly after my mom passed away. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and we had about 4 years after she was diagnosed from that she passed away. And I didn't know how to deal with that. She was my best friend. She was always there for me. And losing that was really hard. I didn't want to go through that. So I found her pills at her house, and I started selling them and I started taking them. And pills are expensive. Once you need to buy them and you don't have them anymore, they're so expensive and they're really hard to be able to afford. And heroin's way cheaper.
She robbed from my father. He was using oxycodone because he had some back problems, and so he was on medication for that, and she robbed his medication. And to this day, my sister will not let her in her house because of that incident, how she could rob somebody of some pain medication when he was in his late 90s at the time.
So heroin was my security blanket. It blocked out all my bad feelings. It blocked out the sadness. It blocked out the grief. And I loved it. And I thought it loved me back. I would have done anything for it. I did do anything for it. I had no self-respect. I had no hope. I was prostituting at times to get money for my drugs. I would steal from anybody. I lost all my friends and family, my kids, my house, my cars, my license, my cosmetology license. I lost everything. And it's not even really that I lost it. I gave it away slowly for this drug.
I started off with weed. Loved the high of being high off of weed. It was funny, always had the munchies, you know. It made I was able to work. I was able to function with weed. Went from weed to heroin and coke.
And so I'll give them a call.
Okay.
I'll connect. Okay. So can you talk to me a little bit about your family? Like, where are your parents right now?
My parents left to Puerto Rico because of my drug use. My dad gave me $80,000 when he retired, and I just shot every single penny up. And they got tired of it. I didn't really think they were gonna leave because my daughters are their only grandkids. So I'm like, oh, yeah, not going nowhere. The girls are gonna hold y'all down. And no, one day I went to the house sick, asking my dad for money. And he said, I have my tickets to go to Puerto Rico. What you gonna do?
It's my understanding that you were, clean during the birth of your children. Can you talk about what ended up happening after that period and how you ended up using again? Like, how soon after did you start again?
I started again right after I had my second child. I started with crack. I couldn't take care of my daughters anymore, so I gave them to my mom. I started smoking crack. Gave the girls to my mom. Like, I couldn't take care of them. I was too busy trying to find how to get high. So my mom took over, and that's when my life just started going down the hill. I had to be out hustling. That's where I started my boosting. I started boosting to get my next high. Then from there, I started shooting up the heroin and the coke. And it was just a hustle every day. Like, I love my daughters. I love them unconditionally, but it's just something that I couldn't put down, Like, I had to get my next fix.
The women that we tend to serve here at the correctional facility tend to have a lot of guilt and shame related to their drug addiction, and the fact that they've broken apart some of their vital relationships and hurt their children in the process.
I got messed up with some bad people, and I did some messed up stuff. I mean, I went to prison for it, so it's nothing I can't admit to now. And I remember, my son's playing, and it's a beautiful sunny day out, and I have to have the the blinds drawn and the door shut and locked because I knew the police kept coming, knocking at the door looking for me. And I kept, shh, be quiet. You got to play quieter. Go in the basement and play. So I had him locked in his own prison due to my drug addiction. He couldn't be a typical, 4 or 5 at that time, year old little boy. Like, he lived in my prison. Are you kidding me? What is going on with this? Unfortunately, it's broken, but this one isn't, just this one. This is my 28-year-old. He's doing well, thank goodness. He didn't follow my footsteps. And then my son Joshua, who's now 21 and is in active addiction, homeless, running for his life. Hi, can you do me a favor? Looking for my son. Can you just page to see if he's here? His name's Joshua Sprague. Sprague.
John Sprague, the front desk. John Sprague. He was here?
Today?
Yeah, they stopped 11:30. They found him.
They found him shooting up in the bathroom or something, right? He told me, he called me that night. I'm scared he could be overdosed dead in an alley somewhere. And has anyone seen this kid? His name is Josh. He was staying here till about a week ago.
That's him. Who's here?
He came here during the day? I know they put him out about a week and a half ago because they found him with paraphernalia, shooting up in the bathroom and other stuff. Yeah, well, you don't have to. Hi.
I wasn't ready for all that. That's all right, I guess.
Where are you staying, Joshua?
On the street?
What about a detox center?
Yeah, I'd like to go, but I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I wanna get a good shot in before I go. That's what I've been trying to do. I just want one good shot and I'll go to open access and I'm done.
I'm not giving you money for dope,
No, you're
so
not giving me money.
I don't know what to tell you about that.
I need stocks, I need boxes.
Okay, well, I can buy you some when you get to detox.
Why can't you buy it from growing up with my mom being an addict? She was in and out of my life. I was staying at my grandma's, going to school, and then I went to foster care, and it was kind of rough. Last night I slept at a trap house, which is a house that sells drugs. I used heroin last night around midnight. That was my last use. I haven't used yet today, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get something to get off sick, because I'm dope sick right now.
He was caught in the middle of it. He was caught in the middle of a storm. And he really paid for it at the end, At the time, I didn't think I was a bad mom. The house was cleaned. He had food, but he didn't get me. He didn't have me. I'd be passed out on the couch or ripping and running, finding more means and ways to get one more. He was caught in the middle of a storm, hurricane.
I want to get clean. I just want to go one more time.
One time's never enough, Josh.
Yeah, but literally, if I went and got high right now, I'd go straight to open access and I'd sit there until I got out of bed.
When you get high, go over there then.
I don't have any money, and I'm not about to go boosting and go to jail.
If you went to jail, I'd hear and I wouldn't be, I'd have peace of mind. You know what it's like being a mom and not knowing if you're dead or alive because I haven't heard from you in a week or two. But I couldn't handle if I had to bury you, Joshua. And I've worked way too hard this time. I just don't know if I could handle it.
When Justin and I were actively shooting heroin or crack or cocaine, whatever drug we were shooting at the time, Jacob was old enough to know what was going on. And he took on a lot of mom and dad roles. He would wake up with Bella and make her breakfast, put on cartoons for them. He would pick needles up and put them up higher so she couldn't reach them.
Stephanie and Justin were both arrested for petty larceny, for robbing food. I got a telephone call from the Rochester Police Department saying, come and pick up your grandchildren. Their parents were just arrested. I dropped what I was doing and went and picked them up. And they've been with me ever since.
Recovery is possible. Achieving sobriety is something that is possible. You see it every day. You see success stories, but you also see those failures. But you can see people, those light bulb moments go off while they're here, and you just hope and pray for the best.
Once I got sober, I started having to face the fact that, you know, I'm on the other side now waiting for the phone call from deaths of people that I love. And on January 12th, I got the phone call that it was my husband, Justin, who had passed away. And it's not a phone call anybody wants to get. And it changes everything. Some of us want to go to the field, and some of us want to check that spot you guys were told about.
Yeah, we can do
So,
What spots?
Donnie with one group. After my husband Justin passed away, I started Hope Dealers BTC for Be the Change. We go out every Sunday. We meet between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. This is one of our weekly cleanup spots. This is a highly active area because we're on North Clinton. This is our ground zero. And there's kids who live all around here. They're walking through needles. There's needles everywhere. I used to shoot up behind 10 Sullivan. That was one of my spots. Hello? There's a needle right here, right there. Last Sunday, we picked up 437 needles. We passed out probably about 60 lunches. Sometimes just that lunch bag is giving them enough hope to see, okay, they care, and maybe I'm gonna trust them enough to let them help me. Someone's gotta pick them up.
Okay, I was going to be a pink girl for Halloween. My costume was so pink-tastic that I could hardly wait to go trick-or-treating. When I woke up in the morning, I went to turn on my
What
light.
I want to say to my dad is, I love him, and I'm so grateful for taking the kids and giving them everything that you gave me, and for giving me the gift of recovery, because I couldn't have done it without him.
Papa,
What?
so
What?
love you so much.
Uh-oh, what are you looking for, Jake?
Can we get movies?
One.
In my 24 years working for the Sheriff's Department, I have seen issues and problems come and go. In my 24 years, I have never seen anything as large as this opioid crisis. Nothing has reached as many people in such a negative way. Not the gang violence, not the issues we've had in our communities, nothing. The opioid epidemic is the biggest crisis I've seen in a quarter century.
I knew that this home was safe for me. This was a safe environment to get clean and to help me get clean. So 2017, I came back here, and the staff believed in me so much, being willing and able to take me back the third time, believing in me that I could find myself. I left here December 28th, and I started working here as staff, became from client to staff on January 8th. You know, Brandy, I just want to express to you, like, being a client here with you and being staff, just from the time you came in to the time now, as of today, the growth I've seen in you and the willingness and the thirstiness of your recovery. I really admire that.
All right, Lisa, so this is your performance evaluation, your performance review. We do these quarterly. One of your goals for the next period that you identified was being able to set healthy boundaries and The biggest boundary you've always struggled with is setting boundaries with Josh and your kid. How are you doing with that?
Josh is doing well. He's in detox. He went in on the 12th or 11th of February, and he comes home March 8th. The boundaries I've set, obviously, Sarah, you know, it was really hard for me, and I think there was a missing factor last time in my recovery is the boundaries with Josh. You know, with him and getting clean, and they say it's 1 out of every 6 people that will actually progress in their recovery and stay clean. I have no expectations. I just pray every day for the best because he's my son. I would give him my last breath to allow him to live. But when it comes to my recovery, like I said, I have to protect it at all costs, and if that's protecting it against my son, I will. And I refuse to go back out and die. I would refuse to be a statistic today.
And I know last time I didn't follow any of the rules. I don't want to live like that anymore.
Well, you don't have to. You know, you're home. So just do the right thing. That's all we ask of you, and you got a fresh start, man.
Addiction it's a very difficult process to recover from an opioid use disorder or any other substance use disorder. It's a long, difficult road, and what's needed is a lot of support. It's a lot of effort on the part of the person trying to recover, but it's also a lot of effort from their families and from the community around them to make that possible. And I hope that people realize that it's not as easy as saying, well, why can't you just stop? Why won't they just stop? It's more complicated than that.
I know things were kind of like disappointing because of the whole court situation and not getting out or anything like that. But at least it's taken care of.
Yes.
It's not hanging over your head.
Right.
It's over.
And I guess I needed to stay a little bit longer, just sit my ass down, and I'm proud of myself because I was sure going to go out there and use, boy.
Really? Like, when did you realize I'm done?
When did I realize that I'm done? Just seeing the same people coming back and dying, leaving the jail and just dropping dead. I don't want to be one of those. Like, when I'm sober, I'm a great mother. I have a great family, and that's where I want to be at.
So was there like a aha moment where you're like, I'm done, this is over? Like, do you remember how you felt? Like, you know, like they talk about in self-help, they'll talk about a moment of clarity. Did you have a moment of clarity? Where it was here?
It was in here, yeah. Hi, Yolari. Can I speak with the girls, please? Hi, Jalexis. How are you? It's Mommy. Please listen to Titi, okay? You know, she's... Huh? Aw. That's so cute, baby. Gracias. You know, Mommy loves you, okay? And Mommy has a surprise for you next week.
My message to my daughters, if they see this, is that Mommy is sorry, and I'm trying very hard to work on myself, for myself and for them, that I love them, I'll never give up, and that I want to be with them, that I'm trying very hard just to be with them. They know I love them, like they know that. I know they need me, you know. I just want them to give me that chance to be the mommy that they know that I can be. That I love them. They're my world.
Right now, I don't know if she's capable of taking the kids back, but I'm involving her more and more with the children. By court order, she gets the children for 2 days a week for 2 hours per day, and then 1 overnight a month.
I love living in recovery. I love the relationships I have with my kids and my dad and my family and friends. So I try to take things one day at a time. I'm gonna be sober for the rest of today because I'm with support and family, and it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good night. I don't know. I hope so though.